Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe, guys. Sorry about the not the regular videos, guys. There's actually a few things that have happened that I want to talk about. Um, but a very interesting topic that I wanted to talk about. I've just been really busy, guys. You know, sometimes in your life, you come across a period where you just become very busy. And I have been very, very busy with other stuff. So sometimes these videos are struggling to churn them out. But I am going to do this one today because uh, this one it's interesting what's happened lately. Now, Canelo has got into a situation with Messi where I don't think Messi responded to him, but where I think Canelo saw Messi. I don't know what actually happened. I think Messi might have been wiping the Mexico shirt on the floor or something, and Canelo took offense to that, and he actually threatened Messi, saying that you better pray to God that I don't bump into you. And obviously then Canelo apologizes. He apologized, for what he said. I mean, I don't think you can say things like that, even if he did something wrong, like almost threatening, that if he sees him, he's gonna hurt him. I mean, it's unlike Canelo as well. I know he's a very passionate and proud Mexican, but Lionel Messi is not somebody that you wanna, and probably won't even get near him. And who knows, Messi might not even know who Canelo is. I mean, Messi's such a big star. I mean, this guy's got nearly 300 million followers on social media. And maybe Messi doesn't follow the sport of boxing. But nonetheless, Canelo's a superstar in his sport, and he took offense to that. And he came out and said what he had to say. I think Canelo, I don't know what's up with Canelo, but Canelo seems a very frustrated figure of late. I think maybe the loss, maybe a lot of things have got to Canelo. He doesn't really, he seems, I don't know, since he's learned English, I don't know whether it's the fact that sometimes and it's not your English isn't your language, even though with this I don't know whether he did the interview in English. I don't know what, I think he did it in Mexican, if I'm not mistaken. But he just seems a frustrated figure. And I think the Bivol loss has taken a toll, because Canelo in his head had an opinion that he felt he was unbeatable. He said this several times, that I'm beatable. And ever since Bivol beat him, I definitely see a more frustrated and a more disappointed side. Maybe because Canelo believed that he couldn't be beaten, irrespective of who he fought. There was talks of him saying that he wants to fight Alexander Usyk. He was that confident that he could beat, heavyweights, that he says, it doesn't matter who I fight, I feel I can win. Obviously, when you feel that way and then you go and you get beaten by somebody, it hurts your ego, it affects you, it can mentally impact you. Obviously, he came back and beat Gennady Golovkin. It was a shell of Gennady Golovkin. But Canelo Alvarez, for me, I feel he's finding it difficult to come to terms with that defeat. In my opinion, I think that defeat has really impacted Canelo. Probably because Canelo was in a place in his career where he genuinely felt that no one's going to beat him. And Bivol beat him. And Canelo knows he got beat in that fight. It wasn't like it was a close fight. Canelo knows he was beaten. And sometimes it's hard to come to terms. And I always felt this about Mayweather. I felt if Mayweather was to ever lose, I think it would have been hard for Mayweather, because Mayweather genuinely felt no one could beat him. Mayweather genuinely felt that he was unbeatable. But Mayweather never ever tasted defeat. So he never had to overcome that. Whereas Canelo obviously tasted it with Mayweather, and now he tasted it more. I think this one hurt more, because I think the Mayweather one was Mayweather was in his prime, and Mayweather was just too good at that point for Canelo. This one was where Canelo was in his prime, and Canelo was really confident that no one could beat him, and he was unbeatable. He even said this, like I said, he came out of his mouth a couple of times, and he was beaten. He was well beaten. So I think that is hard. And I know Eddie Hearn said after the day he was devastated. Competitors like Canelo are generally devastated when they lose, because they're not used to losing. But yeah, I think Canelo has been very aggressive. Some of the things that he said about, not fighting Mexicans, and then the way he came out to defend what he said there, that, I'm a Mexican, I represent Mexico, blah, blah, blah. It just seems like Canelo is... he's biting a lot at the minute. I don't know. Maybe, like I said, the defeat has had a bigger impact than what we can see mentally. But yeah, it was a bit strange. I didn't expect someone like Canelo. Maybe he just took offense to it. Most importantly, I follow football and I follow Messi's not really that type of guy. He doesn't come across a very disrespectful type of guy. So I was surprised that Messi would do something like that intentionally, because Messi doesn't come across very disrespectful or a guy that would disrespect a flag or a nation or a jersey. I don't think Messi comes across that type of guy. So it was very surprising that, if he did something offensive. Like I said, I don't know what he did, whether he wiped the floor with him. Maybe you guys know better. But it was bizarre, to say the least. I mean, for Canelo to react like that, and then obviously come out and apologize, which obviously he realized he was wrong in saying what he said. I just hope that, as a Canelo fan, as a guy that's watched Canelo, as a guy that's watched him and observed him for a long time, I just hope Canelo, isn't at the stage of his career where he's gonna slide and he's past his best now, and it's gonna be difficult for him to come to terms with this. I really hope that Canelo can, find a second win in his career where he can get back to where he was. He did in his last couple of fights, in the last two especially, look like he on the slide now. There are rumors that he was injured, etc. But injury comes as you get older, when you put a lot of stress on your body. And also, I want to see how he comes back from surgery. Now, there is talk that he's going to be fighting John Ryder and fighting guys like that. And I ain't so much against it, because I personally think that after that surgery, we don't know if Canelo's the same man. Canelo might be past, you might not be the same guy. And I actually think if like fighting someone like Benavidez, I think I think the longer Canelo waits, 1 or 2 years, I think that it's only going to benefit Benavidez. Benavidez is going more into his prime, and Canelo, in my opinion, is sliding out of his prime. So in my opinion, Canelo needs to strike with that fight as soon as possible, because I only think it's going to get worse for Canelo. I don't think it's going to get any better for him in that fight. Now, I do favor Canelo, but again, if you start sliding past your best, then a young, hungry fighter like Benavidez could take advantage of that. So, look, I'm one of the biggest Canelo fans. I'm not going to lie. I feel like, as you guys know about me, when I started watching boxing, I was a big fan of Manny Pacquiao, big fan of Amir Khan. Then obviously those guys are now finished. They're retired. You need someone else. And Canelo was one of those guys that I liked. I think he's a great fighter. I think his fights are generally quite exciting. But I do think we're coming to an end of another era where Canelo, I don't think he's got that long left. I think he's got a couple years left. And I think then we need another star. We need somebody else to talk about. And unfortunately, I don't really see it. You got to realize guys like Errol Spence and Crawford, these guys have never been huge stars, and they're not young anyway. I mean, Crawford's in his mid-30s. I mean, who's the next star up and coming? Not just, I mean, American or British. I mean, in boxing, period. There isn't really anybody that I see and I think, wow, he's going to take over the mantle from Canelo. There's no one. And boxing, for me, is decreasing because there's no real big stars. There's no real big household names. Like I just said to you, Canelo's got like 12 million followers. Messi's got 300 million. I mean, that's the difference between a massive football star. I know you could say football, but boxing. I mean, imagine if Muhammad Ali was in his prime, how many followers he would have. I mean, I don't know. I just think that we lack of stars. Now, people say that there's a lot more sports now. There's a lot more coverage of other things. That's why boxers don't get the same attention that they got back in the day. I disagree. I feel like people like Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, these would have been global superstars at any point, in any lifetime, in any era. Because I feel like they had it. They had it. They connected with the public, So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like boxing, in my opinion, there's no real stars anymore. There's no real stars, and Canelo's the only one. And really, like I said to you, he's on the way out now. He's on the way out. Who's our next boxing star? Anthony Joshua was a big, but he got beat a couple of times, and now he hasn't got that same appeal pull. who's the next big guy? I mean, I don't really know. And this is why I worry for boxing, because boxing now, I mean, there's literally, you take Canelo out, I mean, Anthony Joshua out, I mean, who is there? There's no, I mean, there's no real big star. There's no one really that you could say, wow, he's carrying the sport. He's a big, big star. I mean, there's literally not many guys out there. I literally don't know anyone that's, I feel like in the next 5 or 6 years could, you know, once Canelo's gone. Fury's old. I mean, he's not young. He hasn't got long left. Joshua, I mean, I don't think he's got long left. I mean, who are these next big stars coming through? Can you guys name me any? I genuinely don't know who are the big stars coming through. You know, so I really think boxing could go through a big depression. Look, a sport will always survive, but the relevance of that sport may struggle if there's no big stars. You know, generally, I feel like boxing is struggling with a lack of stars at this point. There isn't that many stars in boxing. You know, there isn't many guys boxers that could walk on the street and people will recognize who they are. And that's a worry. That is a serious, serious worry. You know, I do worry for the sport of boxing moving forward. You know, let me know your thoughts, guys. Let me know what I've said in this video, what you think about Canelo and Messi situation. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.